Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I'm going to review Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, the first book in the Farseer trilogy. This book follows Fitz, the royal bastard, as he is returned by the person we presume is his grandfather to his true father, who is a prince and the king-in-waiting to the throne of the Six Duchies. His father promptly abdicates the throne and leaves Fitz in the care of his man, his main, what do you call him? I don't know. Yeah, basically, Burrick. He lives in with him, and this man doesn't really know how to look after Fitz, so Fitz just goes running about doing whatever he wants to do. And it kind of rolls on from there, and then Fitz ends up, they want to train him as an assassin. I'm guessing that's where the title came from. And then there's all this villainy and treachery and conspiracy and a plot against the king, because you know you've got to have a plot against royalty in any fantasy book. It's just the way things go, and well, that's kind of what happens. And Fitz is there and he's just watching it all, and he's kind of inexperienced, and it's brilliant. It is actually brilliant because Fitz provides this way in for the reader. As he is inexperienced, he knows nothing about court life, we are following him and we are learning everything along with him. And when he makes mistakes, you can forgive him. And because of his inexperience and his humility and the fact that he is kind of outcast from the rest of this society, being the prince's bastard and not actually being acknowledged as an heir to a throne, which admittedly does he want to? I don't know. There may be spoilers ahead. I don't know. Anyway, Fitz becomes one of a long line of brilliant characters in fiction. What I truly appreciated about this book is the characters and the way that no character is strictly good or strictly evil. They all have their own thoughts, their feelings, their own motives for things that they do. And there are characters that Fitz believes should hate him, who don't, and characters that should love him, who don't, and characters who really shouldn't feel anything. And this great community feel to the entire novel, and by that I mean you can really feel like Fitz is beginning to understand the society that he's in and the world that he is being thrust upon. And I have seen mention that this is a coming-of-age novel, and I can definitely understand where that's coming from. Now, another reason that I completely loved this book was because it made me reminiscent of the first time I read Harry Potter. Watching Fitz get embroiled in this world and learn things, and learn about magic, the skill and the wit, it gave me that that heartwarming. I mean, this book is anything but heartwarming, but it did leave me feeling heartwarmed. It left me wanting to know more about the world. It did give me feelings that I hadn't felt since I'd read Harry Potter, and no book kind of does that. So it was brilliant for me, because it truly, I'm truly, no book has ever made me feel the way that the Harry Potter books made me feel. And so I was really invested in his story from the beginning. And what I really appreciate is that the story is always told from Fitz in the future. So the story is more eloquent than if we were getting it from a child's perspective. And I think that because of that, all the atrocities and things that do happen that are quite bad and quite difficult to read are kind of told from this more adult perspective, which really lends itself well to the narrative. Then there was the world. And admittedly, I don't feel like you get a lot about the world in here. I know you have an idea of the way that things work, and you have some brilliant descriptions of bookkeep, and the book here is kind of contained to bookkeep. It doesn't really stretch farther out and explore the Six Duchies as much as you'd expect, but I'm kind of glad about that. I'm kind of glad that this book decided to keep its focus on Fitz and the focus on Bookkeeper and the focus on the events that were happening here, because it kind of meant that the reader wasn't having to learn a lot of new stuff quickly that could be explored in later novels. And I really appreciate Hobb's writing and Hobb's forethought here. And also, there were characters in here that were just great. I really, 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 really like the character of Burke, or Birch, or however we're saying it. And he did something towards the beginning of the novel, and I was just like, no, I can't believe this of this man. Why would he do that? He wouldn't do that because he is a brilliant human being, and he is the greatest person in the world. Why would he do that? And so, if anything, I don't know. I don't know how I'll cope if anything. I actually tweeted I now have a new favourite character in fiction, and that's worrying because if you ever, like, it's one of the things, isn't it? You get a favourite character in fiction, something bad's going to happen to him. It's just to be expected. So I don't know. Hopefully he'll be okay in Assassin's Quest. Hopefully. And I just really liked the story, and I liked the way the story was told, and it was this brilliant look at kind of like the heroic story. I liked the way that Hobb kind of used that whole like structure in how she wrote this novel, and it did give the novel structure, and it gave the novel threats, but there were twists, and there were a few twists on it that I hadn't expected, and I can't really say much more about this novel because I'm not very good at reviewing books, but I bloody loved it, and I flew straight into the sequel, and I only gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I feel like Hobb kept herself contained in this book. I understand. I can kind of understand reasons, because you never know with the first book and the way the publishing world works whether you're actually going to get second or third books. You don't know how things are going to work. I know this was the 1990s and they were a lot kinder then, but like seriously, I can understand it. Look at the shortness of this compared to the sequels. It makes sense, and I really appreciated Hobb's brevity and her concision, and the way that rather than just show us a lot of extraneous passages of Fitz learning his trade, she just tells us, well, I learned this by doing this, and I learned it as something that in other novels would probably take about 50,000 pages, only takes a paragraph. And Hobb's writing and her skill at writing is just brilliant to read as a writer and a reader, and I'm truly appreciative of her books, and I'm really glad that Sam at Sam's Nonsense created the HobbALong read-along, because last year there was a lot of excitement from me at reading these books, and now I'm finally getting around to reading these books, and I couldn't be happier, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for these characters. So thank you to Sam at Sam's Nonsense and all of the other people who are participating in the HobbALong, and all the people that read and reviewed this book and made me want to read it so much. It was brilliant. So if you've read this book, please talk to me about it in the comments below. I didn't enter into any Goodreads discussions about this book simply for the fact that I was worried that someone would spoil something, and it's the first time I haven't wanted to be spoiled about books in a long time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to go and probably, I don't know what I'll do, because I need to read the third book, so I don't know. But until next time, that is all.